That's the question on everyone's mind. How is Bryce looking? How is he handling his first full pro duty?
He's taking about 90% of the snaps. Is he
Mm-hmm.
making rookie mistakes? Yes. I'm gonna go back and forth into the NFC because one, we got to talk about that, and then also address some of the things that people have been saying down this I-85 rivalry.
Tampa, yes. Yeah.
No, no, stop it. You stop it there. He's taking 95% of the snaps. Has he made mistakes? He threw a pick the other day. He threw a pick yesterday, and my boy
He's
Shaq.
human? Is that what I'm hearing? He's human?
Yes, he is. Shaq.
Cut him. Get him
Shaq.
out.
Shaq Thompson, a friend of the show, Big Dog, had the interception, and he was going through his progressions. But that's also Bryce is one of those guys. He has such great anticipation. He's anticipating that the receiver is going to be where he is, and sometimes they're not there, not because the receiver isn't good. Sometimes that guy on the other side is getting paid a lot of money. He makes a play.
It's true.
He says, "Hey, I think I've seen this play before somewhere on this field, maybe 15, 17 hours ago.
Yeah.
I think you're running a quick out. Maybe I should jump that."
You had mentioned Josh McCown. You mentioned Frank Reich. They're all working with Bryce Young. Is there such a thing as having too much veteran leadership? Is he getting too many different?
No, because they're all coaches. That's their job, and they understand what they're supposed to do. But then also Bryce is challenging them, and they're sitting in meetings. Bryce loves details, loves to study.
Right.
And so he's sitting there getting enough wisdom between Josh, their quarterback coach, and Andy Dalton. You got like 27 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton, he played with A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd. He played with some good players. He also played with some players that were just okay. So he's able to look at it from a different perspective. He played at TCU as well, which meaning every school brings something where he maybe didn't play in the SEC like Bryce Young. So he wasn't playing against top 30 picks. He was playing against guys who maybe they ran a lot more zone coverage. So that allowed him to understand this or that. So the journey of each different players and coaches allows great dialogue. And somewhere in that experience through all these guys, Bryce Young will be in a situation that either Andy Dalton, Frank Wright, Josh McCown, and then Bryce himself have been in, that they would be able to help him get out of a pickle, or at least go through a scenario that they could at least be somewhat prepared for.
The Panthers and Bears are forever going to be intertwined because of the trade that was made. But a level to that didn't click until you were just talking about Andy Dalton. He was the Bears starter when they drafted Justin Fields. Okay. I remember him distinctly saying, "It's my job. He's going to have to come take it." Do you think him having that experience just 2 years ago better prepared him for now this stage of his career? He's older. He knew what he was getting into. He didn't know that when the Bears took Fields. He did think it was his job. Do you think that better prepared him to be like, all right, yeah, this is my mentor stage of my career. I'm here if something goes terribly wrong, and I'll play, but I know where I'm at right now.
I believe he does. Talking to Andy, saying just his perspective, right? Andy's always been a great dude. But I think he's been, over his 13-year career, 35 years old. He's, and he's a believer, and I think I believe he looks at everything with a great perspective. That he's looking at it as an opportunity to help and know, because at some point, whether we all come to that conclusion or not, you're faced with, hey, man, I've been in this situation, which means I've been in a situation where it is not exactly what I want it to be. It didn't pan out the way I wanted it to go. And how can I make the best out of it?
Right.
How can I make lemonade?
Yep. It's more he was making lemonade for 13 years. Now I have to learn how to make it in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, it's still lemonade. It's just a different way of going about it.
At some part of your career, whether you like it or not, you think the problem is them and not you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when the tide starts to change, you start to realize it's not them. It's me. I can improve the situation with, obviously, my perspective.
Yeah. I may not be the face on the bottle anymore, but I can go pick the lemons from the trees. Like, I can still help. I can still help in this process in some way.
You know, because sometimes we get there and we don't know, are we the victim or the martyr? But then you get enough tread and on the tire, or the tire starts to get worn down a little bit, and you start to realize, you know what? Being a victim sucks. Being a martyr sucks. You know, I'd just rather choose to make the best out of this situation.
Mm-hmm. I saw you and Moose grilling with with Mingo. How was that? It looked overcast, cloudy. It looked like 55, maybe 60 degrees outside.
It didn't look too hot. It was 98 degrees. We had 2 grills going with propane. Bro,
you weren't even talking. You were so hot.
Bro, I had sweat going down the crack. I had sweat that started at my head, went down my, I was, hey.
Mingo said he just got out of the shower and he was drenched already.
Bro, it was ridiculous. You know, one of the cool things that I saw a few people, they're like, man, he need to quit turning over those steaks he's killing. I was turning over because it was so hot. Right. I didn't want him to burn.
Right.
And we didn't have any spray, and so they kept sticking. So I didn't want them to stick.
Yeah. Listen, grilling on the internet is as dangerous as it gets because everyone's an expert when it comes to grilling.
Everybody's an expert.
Especially in the South.
A lot of them like, those were terrible. Actually, they were medium, so they were excellent.
How does that feel having you and Moose playing the older, like the big brothers, the uncles to this current group of receiving, this receiving core?
You know, I was up there and one of the players was asking me, you know, what's your angle, Steve? I said, man, for the first time, I get to be the good cop. It's been fun, man. It's just going in there, try to give my advice, but not too much, not to the point of where guys are looking at me and going, here comes Steve saying something. Sometimes I'm like, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Yeah. And I just watch practice and ask them how their kids and family is doing. And that's really it, man. I don't want to be perceived as the old head who always got something to say about my game. Right. Nah, bro. You doing it, man. Do you.
So it's kind of a brand new. We talked about that. You said they had 11 receivers at camp right now, 15 even. But they brought in Adam Thielen. They brought in DJ Chark. They drafted Mingo. Terrence Marshall's year 3 right now. So how?
Yes, year 3 out of LSU. Yeah.
Out of that group, how's everyone looking? I mean, Chark went viral with a crazy catch. That's one of my favorite parts.
Chark is doing really well. Derek Wright, he broke his hand, but he was doing really well too. So on my chart, I kind of him ranked. Adam Thielen is, he's the old head. I always go with age, right? So you got the old head. He's old, reliable. He's seen the most out of these group of guys, 10 years. Then number 2 on the list, in my opinion, has to be Chark with the speed. You got Terrence Marshall. And then I think it's Mingo and Mingo and Chenault, Shi Smith. And then there's Derek Wright, Damiere Byrd, CJ Saunders. They're kind of battling out to see who can maybe be a special teams guy. That's how I see it. And then you go in the running back position. They got Peoples from App State. He's a rookie. Pad level is way too high, in my opinion. I think Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard, they're going to be battling out to see. Miles Sanders is going to be the big to have the workload. But what I've been impressed with Miles Sanders is his receiving value and, pass pro value is there as well. He pass pro excellent last year. So Chuba Hubbard and Peoples, I think, is going to be battle to see which guy can be that third down back, that short yardage, because this is a multi-tier backfield, and how these guys play is going to depend on how they stay. And then you got Blackshear, who's his special teams value is remarkable, so I think he's locked in there.
Is there almost a competition now to prove value for special teams, since so many guys know it's a way into the league, a way to get their foot in the door?
Every draft, everybody's drafted in these different positions, obviously outside the quarterback, and there's a word under there that says SP value, special teams value. You must play special teams. The more you can do, the more valuable you can show who you are.
So right now on Underdog, Miles Sanders is ranked RB20. You were just talking about his ability to block, his ability to catch. It's something he talked about coming out of Philly. He felt like he was undervalued. Is that an area you think the Panthers are going to attack a lot?
I think he has a lot of value as a receiving running back, and I believe he'll prove that.
So you think even 20 might be a little low?
I think so.
Okay, I like that.
I'll move him up.
He had career highs last year, and it's been strange. It feels like even back to Penn State, his whole career has kind of been under this shadow that he didn't cause. Obviously, he comes after Saquon. He goes to Philly. They trade for all these wide receivers. They kind of phase him out of the Super Bowl, which maybe not the best decision. And now he's replacing. Is CMC regarded as the best running back in Panthers history? Not anything. I'm not asking out of a slight to him. There have just been some really cold running backs that have come through the Panthers.
I think CMC will be the most well-rounded running back because of what he's able to do catching the football.
Yeah.
And running, so dual threat. I think the best running back has to be, double trouble with D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart as the group of guys, but CMC is impressive. He really is. So I believe as a running back to be able to do all the multiple things, he's probably going to be up there. And I don't think they'll ever get a guy that will do that just because times are changing.
Right.
And he's not. Those types of players just don't always come a dime a dozen. He's unique. He's a unicorn. Now I flip the script. Tight ends. It's going to get real interesting. I think it's Hayden Hurst's job to lose. Ian Thomas, 6-year player out of Indiana, shows flashes. That's all he shows is flashes, not consistent. Right? He'll make a great play, and then he'll drop an easy routine catch. Did that yesterday in one-on-ones. So,
do you still get the shows? Like, what year does that expire? Because you just said year 6 shows flashes. It's like, how long? And 6 years is a very long career, but how long do you get that?
Well, here's what I mean. He's in his 6th year, and they just picked up a free agent in the same year.
Yeah,
6th year.
Yeah, so what does that tell you? Whoever they feel more comfortable with is who's staying on the team. Whoever they feel can be more consistent in their role.
Yep. When they pick up somebody in your position with the same year you've had, better get on that jugs machine.
Cut to it, let's get down to it.